Hey, hi everyone. I am Rebecca Hulse, the leader and manager of Joy of Business, and I have with me today the Joy of Business certified facilitators from Asia and Australia and New Zealand.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Awesome.
Really
Great.
awesome.
So this is the small selection of the Joy
Very good.
facilitators we have. We currently have 12 in the world, and this is as many human kittens I could gather in one space at one time, in one go. So how did I get so lucky? I caught 4.
Yeah.
She left a little trail of edibles to entice us.
So Joy of Business facilitators are all over the world, and they can teach the core classes of Joy of Business, including tasters, soon-to-be classes for corporates. We have an Access Business 101 and 102, which are the core 1 and 2 day classes, and a variety of tasters, and they have way too many cool tools and tricks up their sleeves, and I just wanted to share a couple of them with you today if you're watching this now or in the future. So the way I did this, we've had 2. I've already done one for North America and Europe, and it's been really fun to just put you guys on the spot, and I kind of know that you'll be able to handle it. So Aditi is the first one on my screen, so I'm actually gonna pin her on the spot. So Aditi, hi. What have you been up to with the Joy of Business?
Oh my God, it's been so much fun. Joy of Business is something that, interestingly, a lot of people in India have received so well, and they're really looking forward to these classes. And, because one of my favorite tools from Joy of Business is what would it take for me to have my business with no conclusion? And with that, the classes are showing up so differently than what they are otherwise. And I'm having so much fun with them. And the last class of mine, I did it in a coffee shop. And it was so interesting. So, we had a small group of people. We took a table in the corner. And, the coffee shop energy just contributed so much. And it was a lot of fun.
I saw that. Now, I'd love to know, because of generally in Access and Joy Business classes, you want a big room and you want this space and quiet and microphones, and there's generally this style of classes that we've been following. So I'd love to know, like, how did you get to this, a coffee shop thing? Because I saw the little sneak peek that came from this, and it was gorgeous. It was just one of those things that inspired me and went, I want to do a class in a coffee shop. I love coffee shops. Where else can you do a Joy Business class?
Yeah, well, doing a Joy Business in a coffee shop in New Zealand would work, right? Because a lot of people do spend time in coffee shops anyway. Well, yeah, and it was just like, the class is called Business Done Different. And when my venue didn't work out, it wasn't as per, our requirements. Like, it wasn't smelling very nice that morning, and it hadn't been cleaned in time. And I was like, okay, so what's right about this? So what can I do different here? And one of the participants said, can we just hop over to the Starbucks next door and at least grab a coffee and think over it? So while we were walking to the Starbucks, and I was like, hey, would you guys mind if we started the class there? Because it's already 9:30 and I don't want to waste any more time. So we sat there and we actually started the class, and we didn't want to move.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was just like...
You don't want to move. Don't come to Aditi's classes. Aditi, tell us where you have been doing classes and where you're planning to do a few more in the future, just so people get an idea of where you are in the world.
Cool. So I'm definitely planning to do classes in India. I've got classes lined up for New Delhi and Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and a couple of other cities. And I'm also looking at doing classes in London, Amsterdam, and Japan. So these have been lined up, and it's so exciting.
I love it. Cool. Well, this is Aditi, folks, Powerhouse of Magnitude. I'm going to stick Pratima next on the spotlight because she is right here next on my video. Now, Pratima, where do you live?
I currently live in Singapore, Southeast Asia.
Now, Singapore is actually a business hub for the world. How are you finding joy of business in Singapore?
It's interesting that I'm yet to have my first class here because people here seem to be kind of used to a very specific culture when it comes to business. It's about doing something 9 to 6 and working hard and putting in your extra hours. So when it comes to adding joy to your business and looking at, oh, do I really enjoy this? Am I having fun with this? That's a little alien concept here, you know? And that's what I've been observing. So the focus is about making money. It's about earning money rather than giving focus to doing something that you really enjoy and have fun with it. So yeah, it's very different to India or other parts of the world that I have been in.
Cool. And I'd love to know, so what have you been creating with the joy of business? Like, if it hasn't been so much of a thing that's been great in Singapore, like I know that you've been planning and you creating for the future to go elsewhere. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have a class coming up in Japan. So it's scheduled for the very beginning of the year because people asked for it. So we are starting the New Year's with Access Business 101 there.
Horrible.
That's horrible, I know. What a way to start a year with business and that to joy.
Done different.
Yeah. Exactly. So when I was in Japan 2 weeks back, it was interesting that I scheduled a class, but people, it was very new to people there. It's kind of a similar culture all over Southeast Asia when it comes to business. So people were hesitant to sign up. But when I went there and I actually gave them a taster of, okay, what the tools are like and told them about how I had created my business differently, they were so inspired. And I already have people signed up and they created the class. So I think that's the difference that the joy of business is.
How does it get any better than that?
So I'm really looking forward to going there and doing it in other parts of the world too very soon.
Exciting. So Delaney is actually in an airport. She's doing business somewhere right now. And I'm going to pin her so you can see. I'm pretty sure you're in the Brisbane lounge.
Yeah, I am.
You've only, well, I was actually present to witnessing a wedgie that happened in your world maybe only last week by Simone, Milasas, the leader and founder of Joy of Business. And I've seen that she's took some action going on in your Joy of Business recently. So how are you feeling about that?
Well, that was very interesting, and it did work. It was like, because I do so many things, you know, I was like, right, I've got to get some classes going, and I'm actually facilitating my first taster on the weekend, which I'm really excited about during the level 2 and 3 in Sydney, which is the manual and everything. I'm very excited about that. And also that wedgie actually really made me look at what I'm doing with business. And this is kind of probably a little bit embarrassing, but I'm going to be really honest with you here and tell you that for the very first time in my life, just a few days ago, I was writing something about myself for someone, and I actually referred to myself as a businesswoman. And I had never done that before. Like I've got the ABN, I've got the company, but I had actually never referred to myself. And I'm sure you can get, that really changes things as soon as you acknowledge, hang on. That's a pretty big thing. So that's pretty funny. And of course, I was one of the very, very lucky people to be part of benevolent capitalism recently. And so I have absolute high excitement about the future and changing how we're doing business and how we're living with the planet. And I mean with the planet rather than on it. And I've been talking with people, and I'm really excited because as the new year comes in, I'm actually going to be visiting your country, Aditi, and doing a Joy of Business over there as well. So India and in America as well. Yeah. And I'm also going to set up a tour of Australia with Joy of Business. Maxie, maybe you need to come and play with me, or Rebecca. And
I mean, it looks like New Zealand and Australia have to kick their ass in together, because Asia and Europe and America are kicking our ass, actually, when it comes to business.
I have been noticing. And really grateful too, because really inspirational. And same, I loved the thing about the coffee shop, like getting out of all those judgments of what something has to look like and being willing to go with what's going to work and be fun. I mean, this is about the joy of business, and that's what is so different about the tools of access and what Simone Milasas has actually created and continues to create and expand, and what we are part of is about joy and business. And that is something so, so different. And what's required, we're going to change a lot more with joy. It used to be that we were told that, you had to cry, you had to go into your crap and move forward, and it had to be hard. And what these tools are saying is, hang on, it actually doesn't have to be like that. We can actually create something different from a space of joy. I'm in. Wedgie worked.
The wedgie worked. And so the other person that wedgie was also for is the gentleman in this group so far, Max.
Who's that?
I'm sorry, Max, you're a little obvious.
I'm the only one, it's true. And my computer has jaundice. I just need to admit that now. I don't know why. I'll have to work that out.
Well, only, you know what? To the rest of us, you're impeccably handsome. It's only to the videographer and you look like this.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Where are you in the world right now?
Right now, I'm in a hotel room in Dubai.
In Dubai? What are you doing in Dubai?
Yes. Well, I was facilitating a foundational level 1 class, actually, and really creating more connections, networking, seeing what's possible in Dubai, see what's happening at the moment with access and so forth, and seeing what else Dubai would like and what changes available here, really.
Nice. So what have you been excited about with Joy of Business? I know you've only recently become a facilitator.
Yes. Well, I'm coming to India. I'm actually leaving in about, what time is it now? It's 5:30 in the morning, 5:45 in the morning. So in about 20 hours, I'll be on a flight to India. So I'm going to do a Joy of Business class there in Delhi.
Yay!
Which is my first Joy of Business class that I'm facilitating, which I'm really excited about, because like these guys have been saying, like, in Singapore and so forth, people are like, it's like Joy of Business is like an alien concept, right? And I think it's like that in most of the world, really. But it's, for me, like what I get about the Joy of Business is because it's on the creative edge. It's in the future. It's something that people haven't quite gotten to yet in a conventional mass sort of way. So we're really very much on the creative edge. And like Delaney said too, like joy really creates. And people are starting to get that. Like we see it in these little ways where people like talking about happiness, like Coke talks about happiness, these things which are more towards the trend of actually functioning from a space of joy. And people are recognizing that it's the same with business. It's joy creates. And if we're happy and if we're willing to create, then what about joy? What about doing it in an easy way? What about being ourselves, being the joy that we truly be, and creating from that? And what's possible there.
Wow, you guys are phenomenal. You've already like spilled out 10, maybe 10 each different hidden joy of business tools, really, just in the way that you're functioning and speaking and talking about, and the stories that you have.
We're just walking toolboxes.
Walking toolboxes. So actually, speaking of tools, I would love to know, and guys, you could just give a little shout out here, like, what is some of your favorite Joy of Business tools?
Oh, I've got to go. Destroying and uncreating my business and relationships with everything and anything else I can think of, and that I might be forgetting every day.
Hey, that was my favorite Joy of Business tool.
Mine too.
I beat you. You'll have to go one of the others. There's a whole bunch. We know that.
So what is destroying and uncreating your business? How do we actually do that?
Well, it's just to...
That's the hammer tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like that.
Okay, not in Australia, that may be watching this from all over the world. What is the hammer tool? I know it's more of an Australasian joke.
Go, Max. Explain the hammer tool.
Oh, okay. So, well, since it's my favorite tool as well.
Yeah, I'm being generous of spirit.
I like that about you, Delaney. Basically, well, for me, it works best like in the morning or like last thing at night, is to literally, and you can do this in any area of your life, but let's talk about business specifically, is destroy and uncreate everything that you've decided, everything that you've concluded, everything that's happened so far, everything that's showed up, everything about your business, which sort of includes your life, because business, you know, is the adventure of living of your whole life. And destroying and uncreating everything. So you basically can start from a new place each and every day. You can start from a new space each and every day and see what else is possible, because you've probably all, like the people that are watching, have probably noticed that when you go to bed with something, like either you've had a fight with someone or something hasn't worked in your business, and you wake up the next morning and the same thing is there, and then you start your day from that same thing that hasn't worked out the way that you wanted it to work out. You literally have a clean slate to create from, and possibly more about exactly interest in the business and see what is created from there.
I'm not sure if it was just me that lost you for a little bit there, Max. I think as humanoids, we get really excited and it can fry the connections a little bit, but I think that's the gist of all of that.
I have that effect sometimes.
Talk about the joy of business with technology and how, like, because who's fried their technology? Like, really? Like,
a lot.
So how can the joy of business tools help you when you are frying your technology?
Well, one of the things that I like to do is when when I'm buying new technology, the first thing that I do is I ask the piece that if I buy you, would you contribute to my business? And when I get a yes, and that's when I buy it. And the other question that I love is, if I buy you, will you make me money? So those are two of my favorite tools when I'm purchasing technology, or I'm even investing in technology which is online, like videos and things like that. So it's always these two questions that create a lot for me.
That's so cool.
Can I just say something, because I'm going to have to go and catch my flight. And I did want to say this though. Quite often, if I'm frying technology and there's weird stuff going on, if I ask, what's going to create more now? Do I need to go and do something else? Do I need to ring someone? Do I need to go for a walk on the beach? Do I, what else is possible there? Because quite often, I don't know whether it's the way I communicate with myself, but I'll fry technology to create more. Because it's so easy to be sucked into computer land and perhaps not be as aware of every other possibility that is there.
Nice.
On that note, I love you all. I wish that I could stay because I'm having so much fun. But you have just shifted my day. Walking into the airport this morning was like, oh, and now it's not like that at all. So thank you.
See you in Sydney.
Woohoo! Come on.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome. Yeah, so where else could we we go today with this thing, I want to talk a little bit more about the favorite tools. And I also have a bunch of questions. We have over 150 people registered for this event who will receive this now or in the future. And then this will also be put up on our different social media platforms. But actually, I was playing a really fun game before that would be fun to play with now. Let's actually talk about numbers. I have a list of questions from 1 to 15, and you all get to pick a number.
15.
15.
8.
8.
7.
Okay, 7. So let's go in numerical order. 7 first. So Kathy Williams has said she would love to get more fun and ease with business and to get a flavor for these tools with each of the facilitators and what they love. So she's also checking you guys out. But I would love to know, how can you have more ease with business?
Now, is that 7, 8, or 15?
That's
7.
I missed that part. My internet's a little bit dodgy, as you might have noticed.
So Aditi, have a go at number 7.
Okay, cool. So, well, the question is right there. It's like, what would it take for me to have more ease with my business? So what have you decided that ease with your business looks and feels like? And can you destroy and uncreate that? Because we all have our own definition of what ease is, what ease means. And, ease could also mean that, it's supposed to take 5 months or 6 months for stuff to start showing up with my business. And you could destroy and uncreate your definition of what that is. So it starts to show up really different. So I would use the tool, what would it take for me to have more ease show up with my business? And yeah. So, and also it's really about, creating from a place where you haven't created before. And it's always being in a space of what else is possible. It's being the energy of what else is possible when you're trying to have ease and you're looking to have ease with your business.
Nice. Awesome. So who said number 8?
Me.
Mom.
Okay. So number 8's question is, I'm so curious about the energy of being a Joy of Business facilitator. Can we hear from the facilitators what that's actually like? So I might actually get you guys to all answer that. And the other thing that actually we brought up in the other hangout is we've actually since the facilitator class, that was only June. Now, I don't know about you, but it feels like June was years ago. It feels like it was the longest wait at this point. It's the end of September. So it's been 4 months, really. That's it. So, change much? So I'd love to know about the change that is going on for you all with this.
It's been amazing for me. For me, becoming a Joy of Business facilitator is one of the most fabulous things I have chosen for myself first, because it really catapulted my business after the facilitators training in Australia. And the biggest part is to get an awareness that business is all about creation. So I've been working with the energy of creation ever since then. And my business has been getting created with more and more ease and joy and fun, which I have never seen before. And not just my business, my entire life. Now, that's a little strange, right? Because we are here talking about business. What's it got to do with entire life? But I really understood what Simone meant when she said that your entire life is your business. So by being a Joy of Business facilitator, I'm able to bring those tools in every area of my life. And literally there's been ease in every single thing I've been creating in my life, not just my business. So I'd say go for it, and it can be an adventurous ride of your life.
Aditi, do you have anything to add on what's happening?
Yeah, Yeah, interestingly, with Joy of Business Facilitators, it's I remember when Simone was here in India, she did a taster back in 2013, and Pratima was with me in that class, and I remember how both of us were so stoked. We were so excited, and we both at that moment just kind of looked at each other and we said, you know what? If she's going to do a Joy of Business Facilitators, we're definitely going in for it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
We were actually hounding Simone about when are you going to be facilitators, and we waited for 1.5 years, both of us.
Yeah, we were pretty patient with it. And that was when we really knew that, what we were asking for showed up. Even just the facilitators class itself showing up totally was, aligned with what we were asking for. And I had no conclusions about what it is going to be like once I'm a JCF. But it's so interesting that just after that, like Pratima said, everything is super easy. And it's like, even if I'm sitting in an airport lounge and I'm wondering, I wonder what it would take for this, and this. And it's like, 3 days later, somebody shows up and they're like, oh, would you like this in your life? And I'm like, oh, I just asked for it. I mean, I just asked for it. And it's so funny. And you're not used to having things like this just show up magically. And for me, really, Joy of Business is about all of the access consciousness tools in action. It's like you get to become all the tools that Gary and Dane talk about. And Simone is that energy, and we get to be that energy. And creation is just like you're holding a magic wand and you're like, oh, this is fun, this is fun, this is fun, let's go for this. And it shows up and you're like, oh, it is that easy.
Wow, what a terrible side effect of Joy of Business.
I know, it's horrible, right?
Nice. Max, how are you doing? How's Joy of Business been?
Well, very interesting. Similar to what these guys said, it's like literally the contribution. It's like there's a level of receiving that's sort of required and available now as a Joy of Business facilitator that wasn't available beforehand. So for me, it's literally like, okay, what would it take for me to receive more? What would it take for me to receive more? Because receiving is something that's so not done. Like contribution is like gifting and receiving simultaneously. So as a Joy of Business facilitator, is like we gift a whole lot to people. Like we inspire people, we give them possibilities, the tools and stuff, for their life, but we receive so much as well. And that's like really incredible. I mean, we find that like being access consciousness facilitators as well. And then when I became a JCF, when I chose that, it just ramped up more again, and specifically in the area of business, and the questions and the possibilities that have shown up since then is really incredible.
One of the other things that I've really found actually is that the tools seem to work a lot better. They have more of a presence and an amplification to them. Like I don't know if you've ever done the thing of writing out everything that's required for you to live, like how much money it takes for everything in your life that you've ever wanted, and the way that you'd actually like to design your life, not what you're budgeting or what you can afford or whatever matches the amount of money that's coming in. But if I got to design my life, this is exactly the amount of money I'd need right now. And I forgot about this. I may be on the team and I may be a facilitator, but I definitely forget. And so we had this conversation and Simone said, have you done the creating your own financial reality calls again yet? And this was in Costa Rica in August. And I was like, oh, no, I haven't. I'm going to do that right now. And so that morning I redid it, and I redid everything that it would create to live my life the way I would like it. And the way that money has flown in since then has been one of the most funnest surprises and delights of, oh, more, oh, I just made double what I made last month in 5 days. Okay, don't use these tools. So there's just the way, I don't know, there's a way about the presence that you can really have with what you're creating that I've really discovered in the Joy of Business that's been really awesome.
Can I just add something practical, like to what you said, Rebecca, as well, and what I was talking about with the receiving?
Yes.
Because the people listening, I just want to sort of put it in more of a tangible sense, like what that might be like might be a whole lot of energy flowing through your body. You might be like, so like, and like that's the energy of receiving. And normally what people are taught to do is to contract, to stop the energy, to like, to not, you know, to try and stop things and slow things down, and to not receive, and to make things less, and to not have more, and to not have more going on. But it's really like this thing of when you expand out and you expand out and you expand out, which is one of the tools of access and joy of business. And you can't receive more, you can't be more unless you expand out and become bigger, like, you know, the size you actually are. Because when you try and maintain a really small space, everything just becomes too much. So like part of that receiving is expanding out and going, okay, asking the questions like Aditi and Pratima and Rebecca have been talking about, and Delaney. Asking the questions, what else is possible here? What else can I receive? Like, it's always about adding to your life, never about taking away or smaller or contracting or less. It's always about adding to your life, receiving more. What else is possible? What else can you create? Which is very different than positive affirmations. Notice how these questions create more space, which is the expanding out. So I hope that helps some people too with like all the stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah, and the other thing that I would just like to say that has given us a bit more freedom is like you get to amp it up. So this week I had this thing of like, no, I should not go to the advanced body class this weekend. Like, no, not this one. Leave it. Do another one. And I was like, okay, I wonder why I need to be at home. And this week we've actually simultaneously brought forward 2 launches that were supposed to take about 6 weeks. And we're cramming them both into this week right now. And it's the ability for me to have this space where I can go, okay, now let's amp it up. And I was talking with one of our interns last night. I was like, okay, this is the game. How many of these blog posts can you get through, fix and edit before I have something else for you to do? And we're playing this race of me finishing what I need to do so I could give him more, and then him trying to get through this so then he could like have more. And we're just going of this amp it up, like, okay, cool, we do have to launch 2 things that we're gonna take 6 weeks this week, so how are we gonna do that? How much fun is this gonna be? How much of a race and game can we play? And like the excitement and this kind of energy makes it easy for things to go blah, 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 until they're created. And like this is one of, for me, the joys of business.
Yeah, and the different ways that it shows up, which is really cool. Like when we function from this logical linear way of this is how it has to be, and this is how this reality does it, and this is how everyone else has done it, and I can only do it like other people, like everything sort of dies. But when you like the function function from the questions like that you guys are talking about, and the example that you gave, it's just like things can just happen like that. It's like, wow, how did that happen? And then you go, never mind how it happened. It happened. Cool. I love it. What else is possible?
I love that. Now, did we have another?
Hey, Rebecca, I've got a question for you quickly.
Yeah.
Tell us about your background. It's awesome.
Background. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I'm in New Zealand, and I actually trained to be a professional dancer. That is my, what would you say? That is my university experience, is commercial dance. And then when I was in the middle of this degree, I'd always known that I needed to add more to my life. And this little course popped into my head online called Marie Forleo's Rich, Hot, and Happy Bee School. And it was all about business. And I fell into it, and I loved it. And then from there, I found another little course called No More Business as Usual. And that happened to be an access course. And so at 19, I was running this online coaching business, and I was starting to use the tools of access consciousness. And I hopped on a cruise ship with my boyfriend to dance. And that was how I started in business, was multitasking a full-time job while traveling on a cruise ship. I knew business done where before I knew it was business done where. Most of the time that I could actually get to work with good internet was in a very loud Caribbean bar with the pina colada. So I had
with a dandelion background.
With
the dandelion background.
With the dandelion background. Well, this is actually from one of my B-School friends, and she creates bespoke video backgrounds, and this one's by her. Emma Vialta is her name. And so this is kind of some of the old kind of style of my kind of design, and then access consciousness on the other side.
I like it.
Yeah. And so this is the kind of thing that I would love to know about you guys. I sent you through some questions that I asked you that I'm going to be putting on the new Joy of Business website very soon. But I would like to know about the different ways that you see that business can be done different. And business can be done where? I mean, now we can do access business 101s in coffee shops, and what else? Like, I'd love to know, like, what are the possibilities for the future that you guys see are available?
I'd like to see one at an airport.
In an airport? Well, I could do one of those.
What would it take?
That would be an interesting way to utilize your transit times.
Or on the plane, even better. There you go. If you're on like a 10, 14-hour flight or something, you could do like 2 classes.
Or you could
Well, I have a crazy idea. You could also do it like if you're sitting in a business class or a first class lounge, you could just announce a 1-hour taster to all the people sitting there.
Right.
I love it. That's awesome.
Hear it. Just put on your headphones.
And how about in a pool party? Having fun in the pool and doing the class?
That.
Oh,
With a
Pratima,
pina colada, of course.
Pina coladas. Well, you know, it's something that I've seen us do, like, you know, when I first came to Access Consciousness, the idea of going to lunch was the biggest tragedy in the world to me. Just the idea of having to stop the class, full stop, and then talk to people was a nightmare. Like, why is this happening? This morning was so wonderful. And then I realized that the people I was going out to lunch with were not the ones that wanted to create at lunchtime, which is what I really knew was possible. And so, but now lunch is like this, okay, now we're going to put everything that we created this morning into action and then create something else from it. And so the creation never stops anymore. And so something that I would really like to see is like these mastermind lunches or creation lunches, where you get together with a Joy of Business facilitator to lead it, and you start to create in this more relaxed way. I've learned very recently that you really can't force an agenda on a lunch meeting like you would like to. It stifles all the creations and what could be possible. However, if you're going, okay, so we're all here, and there's a bunch of things we could talk about, and what will create the most. And then taking that conversation from there in this space of, well, we could go here and then over here, and then let's bring this element in. And it's a very much business as the adventure of living kind of lunch. Wow, so many ideas. Who wants to go to lunch?
No.
It's only 6 a.m. here. I'll start with breakfast.
Breakfast. Right. And so here's another thing that I've been looking at with and this was brought up in the question actually, like the difference between business done different and the joy of business and a traditional way of doing business. Like, say if you are in a more corporate environment, how can the same tools and the same energy of fun apply?
So can we just take it from, the lunches that you spoke about?
Yes.
Yeah. So in India, it's like when you have a prospective client or you have a partner, you're supposed to take them for lunch or you're supposed to take them for dinner. And there's always this energy of, okay, I know what this guy is going to talk about. And this is my defense. These are where my cards are very close to my chest and I'm not going to let them know. And then I know that the negotiation is going to happen. It's never about what fun can we have together, what can we create together. It's never that. So I would personally love to see the lunches, business lunches and business dinners change in India. That's one place I would really love to begin.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
something to add?
Yeah.
So, was that me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say I was here in Dubai and things didn't go as planned exactly. And so I had some extra time up my sleeve and I just had a look on the internet and I had this real curiosity about the United Arab Emirates, like what's the deal here? there's 7 different families that run those 7 different states, blah, 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 sort of like a tax-free place, the wealth families. And then I came across some other people. I was sort of like looking, okay, maybe I could contact someone, maybe I could see what else is possible here. I contacted this lady who was like, she's an Egyptian-born, Australian-raised lady that speaks Arabic and English over here, and she does like TV presenting and like big presentations for big corporate brands and stuff. And she started this thing called the Female Network over here too. So, which has got like 300,000 members across the Middle East, like, women, obviously. And so I just gave her a call, and she didn't pick up on that particular. I didn't leave a message because it was in Arabic. I couldn't really understand that it was message bank, so I wasn't really sure. But she called me back the next morning just because of the missed call, right? And so I ended up going in there in the afternoon and running her bars just as like a taste introduction to Access Consciousness. And it was the weirdest thing, and first of all, how that all came about. And like, because I had no point of view when I was making phone calls and stuff, and I was just had this interest in like what's going on here and what's actually available. So I just sort of wanted to emphasize that how things show up and how you can just from the question create things that you never thought were possible beforehand. And it was really interesting getting an insight into her world and how business functions over here and what's actually possible there. And this is amongst other things, like while I've been in Dubai and the possibilities in speaking to people and people that are really interested and desire to create way bigger over here.
How does it get any better than that?
Yeah.
That's super cool. So guys, I would just love to open up the floor. We have a couple of people that are here live with us, and if they have any questions, now would be a great time. You have 4 Joy of Business certified facilitators here at your beck and call. And just come and interrupt me because I'm going to talk for a few minutes to let anyone come off mute. And the other thing is that I would love to know from the Joy of Business facilitators, like, what's next for you and how could people contact you? And I would also love to know a little bit about like a year from now, even though we know it's going to be different. We will have been through another Joy of Business facilitator training in Copenhagen. And I wonder where we will be and what the possibilities are. So if we could create anything as a Joy of Business facilitators in the next year, what would it be? No, putting people on the spot here.
Good question. So we're just also in the question that we'd like really have nothing to say. We were like, wow, what else is possible in a year?
Right.
And definitely creating, changing the way business is done in this reality that where people look at business as a necessity, that every day they have to get up and go to work. What if it's no longer necessary, but you choose it every single day because it's fun for you? And what if everybody on this planet functioned that way? That would be really cool.
That's amazing. I love the vision. I feel like we're on Miss Universe business style.
Well, with you guys on.
Where's my tiara?
Well, I have one. It's just not in this room.
I'm sure all 3 of you have one like right next to you somewhere. I mean, for me, what I would love to see in a year's time would be that like Joy of Business is, even if it's not Joy of Business, the brand, if it's joy, like literally the joy in business and the joy of business, if that was like a well-known thing, like around the world. And we have facilitators, Joy of Business facilitators all around the world. And what would it take for that energy to really literally just expand out so people just start having that joy of business more so, so, and you can actually see it around. You can see the differences in how people relate to each other in business and how they do business, and benevolent capitalism, how that comes in. So it's like literally for the good of all. Yeah. It's not just about taking and giving and taking and giving and that sort of reality. It's like literally like everybody, well, okay, not in a year's time, perhaps everybody, but that a lot more people create for the good of all. And I don't mean just like, in this sort of Samaritan state where it's like you give yourself up to then do it for other people and that sort of stuff. But literally it's like, it's for everyone, which includes you. That'd be awesome to see.
I love it.
Cool. So for me, it's like a year from now, what I would really love is for people to get how much value does joy actually have in business. And that, it's currently like, even when I look at people here in India or anywhere else outside for that matter, like business is seen as something, it's like, I have to do it. Or, it's because it gives me a lot of money. Or, it's not seen as creation. It's not seen as fun. It's not seen as joyous. And how many things do we actually choose today that are joyous? And I would love for business to be right up there. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the person has to do this class, or that they have to read this book, or that they have to be associated with joy of business in any way. I mean, that's a choice. But even in their own life, to just take a look at where they are creating their life and creating their business, and how about doing it from a space of joy, and not doing it because they have been doing it for so long, or because they were educated in it, or because it just makes them so much money, or because their whole family is doing it. It's like, what would you like to create? What is fun for you? What gives you juice? What makes you get up in the morning with that spring in your step and go, woohoo, I'm so happy I don't even need coffee.
I love that. What?
And then everyone goes to the coffee shop for the Joy Business class. Drinks
yes!
tea. 1 year's time. 1 year's time.
1 year's time.
That is awesome. This hangout has been really fun, like a nice little quickie of creation. I really love seeing what all of you are creating and doing around the world. We're going to put the links to everyone's contact details in the email that will go out with this, and then some of them below the video once it's up online on YouTube. And so really, guys, thank you. If you've been watching from the middle or maybe not the beginning, these are the Joy of Business Certified Facilitators. And what else is possible for the...
Thank you so much for hosting as well, Rebecca.
Oh, yeah, Rebecca, you
really
are
awesome.
absolutely,
Really
you've been
enjoyed it.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I really enjoyed herding kittens and putting this all together. So.
I think that's something you do like. You're like, what are they called? I don't know if there's a name for like a cat shepherd, but there you go. You've even got like the right sort of coat for it.
Yeah.
You just need like a staff, which is probably a computer.
More like it, yes. So thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you for all of you who have joined, and Delaney, who was here earlier. And we will see you maybe somewhere around the world. We would really love to meet you in person one day.
Absolutely. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Being part of the Joy Business.
Bye.